Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Freyleyce, and today's recommendation video is going to be for forbidden romances. I feel like we need a drum roll here. I have been wanting to do forbidden romances ever since I started my channel, and I literally have not done a video like this. I did one similar for angsty and steamy romances, and I feel like those always have some sort of forbidden part in them, but it wasn't a true forbidden rec video to me. A lot of the books were forbidden, but like the main one was the angst and the slow burn and all of that, so like that wasn't a true forbidden rec video to me, but this one is going to be, and I'm so excited to do it because I have a great list. A actually like fantastic list, like one of my favorite lists in a while. So yeah, I'm always down for a good forbidden romance, and lately I've been in the mood for some amazing ones, and I got those amazing ones. So before we get into it, I just want to say like what's forbidden and what's taboo to me. Most of these books will be like forbidden in the sense of brothers, like, oh god, why is that so hard to say? I can't like ever get that right. Like brother's best friend, sister's best friend, like things like that, or like boyfriend's dad. Actually, that's a little bit more taboo because usually there's an age gap, and there's no boyfriend's dad in this. I don't know why I said that. Like boyfriend's brother, or ex-boyfriend's brother, bodyguard, things like that, because taboo to me is like my dead brother's widow or something like that, which I don't want to drop any spoilers, but I might have a video coming like that. But this one is forbidden, strictly forbidden. There's no like super big gaps that people will be like clutching their pearls for. It's not like she's dating her step-uncle, she's just dating her bodyguard. You know, it's a little bit like that. So yeah, I love these romances always. They add such fun to it. They add some more angst, some more steam, some more longing and emotion. And it just, yeah, it's amazing every time I read it. So lately I've been really in the mood for ones like this, and I have some amazing recs. Most of these I've read recently. Some of them were from my stack from before, but all of them are good, and I can't wait to recommend them to you guys. So yeah, thank you so much for watching my first rec video in a minute. Actually, so sorry, I did sapphic recs, but this feels like we're back to my usual recs, and this feels fun, and I'm excited. So if you like taboo romances, if you like age gap romances, if you like steamy romances, keep an eye out because I'm not confirming anything, but those might be my next videos. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great reading month. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stick around a while. But let's get into these recommendations. I don't actually know how many recs I'm going to give you guys. I have a list of like 15 of them, but not all of them are like ones that I want to give you guys. You know what I mean? Like I feel like those ones aren't perfect, but some of them are. But I haven't decided which ones are and which ones aren't yet, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I want to start with Kingdom Fall by A. Zavarelli. This is a mafia romance first and a nanny romance second. So this is the first nanny romance I've ever read, and I told myself I never would read a nanny romance because like, I don't know, something about that, like the single dad, or single parent, this case it's single dad, but like something about that, I don't know, I was just like, he's got a child, and I don't know, something just didn't float for me, personally, but I picked up this one because it just sounded so fucking good, and I was like, oh, it is a nanny romance? You know what, I don't give a fuck, it just sounds so good, and I'm so glad I did that because actually, this was amazing. So, the heroine of this one is pretty young. There's also a bit of an age gap in here. I couldn't give you the exact years though. I just remember a bit of an age gap, and she gets hired to babysit this mafia boss's son. So she goes into this household that's like pretty cold, like it's not a loving environment, and she just brings so much joy and light and everything in, and it just like changes his world, and it's amazing. She's a super like lovable, not really bubbly and not really sunshine, but like she's a super lovable, like adorable person, and he's super grouchy, grumpy, scarred, tortured, and together they're just such a perfect combination. So yeah, single dad, nanny romance, bit of an age gap. The heroine in here is nonverbal. I don't remember if she physically cannot speak or but I just know that like it made those moments so much more profound. Like you don't need words. And this book, like, actually proved that to me. Like, you can show someone you love them in so many ways. And, oh, not me tearing up. What's going on? His book wasn't that emotional, but, like, it was emotional to me. So, yeah, I really love this book. Like, actually, I really fucking love this book. The forbiddenness is perfect in here. It gives it a bit of a slow burn, attention thing. And I devoured the fuck out of this book. Like, it was so good. And I highly, highly recommend it. Next, I want to recommend Hawk by Jessie Hall. This is forbidden because it's a... Watch me get this wrong. Boyfriend's brother romance. So think after but with a bit more forbidden. The heroine is very similar to the heroine in After. She's very like good girl. She's been through some things, but she's like still very good girl. So she really just lives like a calm, peaceful life, you know, like it's very regular and normal and boring and like, yeah, suburban and shit. And then Hawk comes smashing into her life because she's living with her boyfriend, and she's going about her regular life, and then her boyfriend's brother just gets out of jail and he needs a place to stay. So he stays in their house, and her boyfriend is a pretty shit boyfriend. Like, he's not home very much. He doesn't take care of her. He's not very loving. He's a shit boyfriend. And so it forces them to spend a lot of time together. And yeah, what more can I say? The tension that was impeccable because they're spending so much time together, and her boyfriend is like literally pushing them together. Like, buddy, if you're not a loving boyfriend, she's gonna look elsewhere. And she's gonna look for better. And you know what? Cameron is better. This man is so hot, like actually so hot. So yeah, the cover is hot, the book is hot, it's amazing, it's everything, and it's just such a like a whirlwind romance. Like, you get swept up in it. It's a bit darker, not too dark though, not as dark as Jesse Hall's other books, and not really dark compared to the other ones on this list, but like, I don't know, it's just fun. He's like dangerous bad boy interrupting a suburban good girl's boring ass life and making her feel things and making her love life. Wow, why am I so philosophical today? I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I really love this book. It's one of my favorites, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for that forbidden trope. The tension in this and the like angst while they're waiting, or like, well, not while they're waiting, that sounds bad, but like while they're taking the steps in the relationship, that angst is actually impeccable, and I loved it so much. Another Jesse Hall book. This one is a lot darker. This one is That Sick Love, and it follows a very, very good girl who is in a cult. So obviously she's feeling, I don't want to use the word like repressed, but she's not experiencing life. She's brainwashed, and she's struggling to find herself and wondering why she feels so incomplete. In sweeps Arrow. God damn. Everything about this man. He's the bad boy, the one that was in a cult but turned away because he found a better path, but they all shame him for it, even though he's like in a much better space now. Make that make sense. Anyway, he swoops in. You know, he's not going to be this knight in shining armor. This man is an anti-hero, but he was hot. And he did kind of save her, so it's okay. We don't care. But, yeah, so they see each other, and it's very instant chemistry. Not in the way that they're, like, instantly in love with each other, instantly falling at each other's feet, but they just have that feeling. And, yes, they don't hate each other, but they, like, have that banter at the beginning. They're like, no, like, bickering, and, like, yeah, they're basically in love with each other. First meeting, but it's not insta-love at all, but it is insta-lust. And so, yeah, it's just another level. I can't explain it. But basically, he helps her get out of the cult. He's intertwined in the cult in a different way, but he wants her to, like, be mentally stable again. Not that she's, like, mentally unstable, but, like, I mean, she's in a cult. He wants to get her out of the cult. He wants to get her safe. He wants to get her well again. And he doesn't go about it in the, like, perfectest way, because he is an anti-hero, but he gets her safe, and he gets her, yeah, just safe. And at the end of this, or towards the end of this, actually, she just really starts to find her power. Like, 50%, she's such a different character than she was in the beginning, and I believe her name is Bryony, I think. She just really finds herself and her power, and she becomes such a strong heroine, and such a strong woman, and Arrow was like right by her side the entire time. And the power couple that they were at the end was amazing. The smut in this, it's very smutty. It's so smutty, and it's so like dirty, and it's like, it's so good. Now that I'm talking about it, I don't think it's like all that forbidden, but in the moment it feels very forbidden because she's in a cult, she has vows, she does break the vows that she made. She's not actually a nun, but like, yeah, she's in a cult, and she's got things she said she would do, and she disobeys them. Also, because of who Arrow is, it's very forbidden. And yeah, oh my god, I really like this. This one is a lot darker than any other books on here, though. Just keep that in mind. One of my favorites on this list, but it is a bit darker. Y'all, I actually have so many recs for this video. Like, when I say I've been waiting to do this for a while, I've been waiting to do this for a while. So next I want to recommend Priest by Sierra Simone. You guessed it, this is a priest romance. I didn't think I would ever read this book, but I read it a few months ago, and god damn, I see what y'all were talking about. This follows a heroine who, actually, I don't really know what happens. She just feels unsatisfied in her life, and she decides to go back to church for the first time in like so long, and she meets Father something, I can't think of his name right now, but they have a very like I guess you call it like a religious relationship in the beginning. Like they aren't fucking each other instantly, and oh my god, that makes a slow burn so much better. But they're friends first, they get closer, and they just connect on a deeper level. The tension and the angst is impeccable, and they really showed the struggle in this. Like Sierra Simone wrote the struggle of like, I really want to be with you, but I've made vows to my like higher power. I love you so much and I want to be with you, but I pledged to be with this, and like da da da. And it really showed the struggle. And I'm not gonna say that like made for some awesome smut. I mean, it did, but like that wasn't the main point of this. Yeah, these are just two people that really love each other and have made vows to be a certain kind of person, but they realize that it's okay to also just enjoy their life. And yeah, why am I like explaining this in such a, I don't know, philosophical and like heartwarming way? I don't know. But anyway, I really, really believed in Poppy and the hero's love in this one. Like, oh my god, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I rated this book 4 stars. It did have a little few things that I didn't fully love, but the forbidden part in this, for sure, hit the spot. The smut was awesome. I was like a tiny bit bored in the other parts of this, but yeah, I really do recommend it for a forbidden romance. The struggle was incredibly realistic. I was gonna say it's real, but it's not real. I can't relate to that. And then we have Sinner by Sierra Simone, and this one follows a nun, or a soon-to-be nun, and her brother's best friend. So yeah, double forbidden. It's also an age gap. I think it's like 15 years. So the heroine in this one is about to make her vows to become a nun, and she's like, I want to experience life before I'm locked away in some tower for the rest of my life. That was kind of like a bad relation metaphor thing, but anyway, she wants to, number one, lose her virginity and just enjoy life and experience love, because she knows she's not going to for a very long time, or actually for her whole entire life. So yeah, I don't know how it happens. Obviously, that was also kind of spoilers, but she propositions her brother's best friend because she's like, I'll feel safe with you, da, 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 da. And it just leads into so much more. So they've always been close. They've kind of grown up together. And once she propositions him and he eventually says yes, it just like progresses into something so big that neither of them expected. But then she's still supposed to go be a nun, and has his life, and like, oh my god, and it is a happily ever after. How long do they have to wait? I don't know, but it is a happily ever after, and I loved it so much. The tension and the angst, once again, like, I just believe that's everything forbidden. It's just angsty, it's full of tension, and it's so swoony. Like, it's so swoony. This one, totally. It follows one of the Bell brothers. I can't remember if it's Tyler or Sean or Sean, sorry, but yeah, it was so hot. So I really like this one. The dynamic of these two were really amazing, and this isn't a series. The first book follows one brother, the second book the other brother, and the third book the last brother, sorry. I didn't read the third book. I've only read the first 2, and they were both forbidden romances, and I both really enjoyed them, and the smut was great in both of them. They can be read as standalones, and that's just everything about them. I really, really liked it though. So now we're going to a bit more of a calmer forbidden romance, in the sense of like how the forbidden is. Like, we were like, whoa, nun romance. Now we're going to a workplace romance, and that is In the Gray by B.B. Reed. This one is not a calm book in the slightest. Don't get it twisted here, okay? It's calmer because, like, she's not a nun, and they're just working together. So it's less forbidden, and especially in the context that this book is written in, it's just less forbidden than being a nun, you know? But it's not a calm book. This follows Atlas and Rowdy. Atlas gets like led into Rowdy's life basically, and she shows up at his mechanic shop, and she has a mystery to solve. So she gets a job there, and actually on her first day, he like sees her and is literally like, do you want to fuck? And she's like, what the actual hell? And she knows that he's one of her new bosses, and she kind of plays along with it for a while, and then she's just like, wait, this is a bad idea. And then she like straight up lies. She's like, I'm 16. She was not 16. But then he's like, yo, what the fuck? And that creates for so much tension. He soon finds out that she was not 16, but you know, it starts them off on the wrong foot, and that just leads into the rest of this book. It's forbidden in the sense it's workplace romance. There are a few other things. The age gap is pretty big in here. I think it's 16 years, and there's drama. There's a lot of drama towards the end. That was my only dislike with this book, is it was a little too much drama for me, but the forbidden part was amazing. The smut was amazing. Like, no words. It was amazing. The two characters, I really loved them, and I loved them together, and it's forbidden. And if you read it, you'll see that it's more forbidden. Or is it? Or is it? But yeah, I highly recommend this for forbidden romance. Also, like, an everything overall romance. This was so good. A new release from BB Read, but I absolutely fucking loved it. Now we're moving on to one of my favorites from this list, and that is Shallow River by H.D. Carlton. This is another boyfriend's brother romance. I love that trope. I love it because the brother always turns out to be like a dickhead, so I can justify it, because otherwise I'd be like, yo, what the actual fuck? But because he's a dickhead, I'm like, oh, okay. He can go rotten to hell and you guys can have your happily ever after. I cannot remember for the life of me the name of the heroine, but she's like a very free-spirited heroine. She just brought some like fun to it, and I really liked her as a character. So anyway, she's in a relationship, and it's a very toxic relationship. It's domestic violence, it's verbal abuse, it's like literally, it's very toxic, okay? And she can't leave it, but stop the truck. He brings her to meet his parents. Yeah, I don't know why I made that so dramatic, but he brings her to meet his parents, and then she meets his brother, and she's like, yo, you didn't tell me you had a brother, what the fuck? And this brother is hot, okay? Oh god, and he also had a really hot name, and I'm so pissed that I can't remember names. I suck with remembering characters' names. I don't know what it is. Y'all, he literally had the hottest name ever. God, it's like Marikai or something, but his name was so hot. I just remember that. And instantly, as soon as I read out his name, I was like, girl, dump that man. Go for his brother. Go for his brother. Because obviously he was a dickhead, but his brother was so hot, and he's tatted, and he's a cop, and I've never really read Blue Collar Heroes. It's actually a fat lie. It's a fat lie. I can't say that. I don't read that many Blue Collar Heroes, but he was like a guy who lived a normal, boring life. Like, he had money, so he was still hot. I'm joking, sorry. But he just lived a like normal life, and it was so refreshing. But nothing about this book is normal. I'm sorry, it's not normal. It takes you on a fun ride, okay? I'm not gonna say anything for spoiler reasons, but it takes you on a fun ride. I loved the dynamic in this, their chemistry, the way that he's trying to save her while also not like becoming a saving kind of person. Like, he recognizes it himself that he wants to save her, but he's like, I can't make her turn her life around. I can't make her come to her senses and stop getting beaten every second day, right? And so he gives her time, but he's like still there for her, and I think I was very, very healthy. It was very, very healthy. He's very, very healthy. It does get a little unhinged towards the end, but yeah, that forbidden part with the best brothers, oh, god damn, the boyfriend's brother, it was everything, because when he would take her to his parents' house and she would see him, I was like, the actual, like, those scenes were killing you with the tension. I was like, I was living for that. And then of course when they got together and the push and pull of them and everything, it was so good. I loved it so much. Next up, I want to talk about Dreams of 18 by Saffron A. Kent. This one is a best friend's dad romance. The best friend is a guy, and then it's a romance with his dad, who gives very much lumberjack hero. Like, actually insane. He's such a lumberjack hero. And he's like, yeah, okay, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, primarily, this is an age gap romance, but it's also extremely forbidden. This could actually be classified as taboo. Is this classified as taboo? I'm unsure. Y'all, I pierced my ears again. I always had, okay, side topic. I got my ears pierced a few years ago, but I let them grow in because they were just getting so irritated and I was getting fed up with it. And I redid them a few months ago, I don't know. And I put a new earring in for like the second time, and my ears are getting so irritated. I love piercings and I don't actually mind the pain, but the aftercare is actually such a fucking piece of work. It's insane. Anyway, back to Dreams of 18. They first meet when she's in high school, and they have like kind of little meet cutes actually, and she keeps like sneaking into his lawn because she's low-key in love with him. Not actually low-key, she's in love with this man. And yeah, she keeps like sneaking into their house or onto their property to like sneak peeks at him, and he keeps seeing it, and he's like, this girl is weird as hell. And yeah, they kind of have a little something there, and then somebody catches them like in a bad photo or something, and it spills it throughout the whole town, and it's a bit of a small town, and just shit like spreads, and her parents don't want that bad news about them, so they send her to like a mental hospital / insane asylum. It's not that rough, and it's not like super sick and twisted. They just send her there to like put her in the shadows and take her out of the spotlight. And then she gets out, and she's like, I need closure. So she searches him up, finds him, and goes like on a road trip to see him. And I don't remember what happens, but they just like stay in each other's lives for a while and then they fall back in love. I feel like they always loved each other just a little bit, but at the end they really fall in love, and to me it was actually really, really beautiful. It follows Violet and Graham. Why can I remember their names and not the others? I don't know, because it's like not my favorite book on the list, so you'd think I'd remember my favorite ones first. Anyway, yeah, it was a super fun age gap romance, and is it forbidden or is it taboo? I don't know, you guys decide in the comments. I wanted to include it because it was on my list. And I really like this book. So yeah, it was very fun. And if you like lumberjack heroes, older guys with like a little beard and wearing plaid, like me right now, hey! I definitely envision him wearing red plaid though. Not me wearing my red plaid pajamas. Oh my god. I'm basically Graham right now. Basically Graham. Yeah, I really think you guys should read this. It's a very fun age gap romance, and it's forbidden to me. It's with a slice of taboo, actually. With a slice of taboo. Okay, next, one of my favorite books that I've read recently, Keep Her Safe by QB Tyler. This is a bodyguard romance. Have any of you ever watched The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner? Because this is actually that movie in a book. And oh my god, I've been waiting for this book my entire life because I love The Bodyguard. Whitney Houston is a fucking superstar. In that movie, she's everything. And Kevin Costner's like that broody, grumpy guy in the corner, and he's like, ah! Oh my god, it was so good. I love that movie. But I always felt unsatisfied by the ending because I was like, are they together? Da, la, 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 la. Like, you gave us absolutely nothing. Are they together? And I get why they did that, blah, 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 but I hold a grudge, okay? I hold a grudge. But yeah, I've always felt unsatisfied by that ending, and this book made up for it. It made it okay a little bit more because I got the ending of a perfect bodyguard romance. It follows a very famous actress and her bodyguard. She tried to have a relationship with him when her team first hired him, and he's like, no, I can't. I'm your bodyguard. Your priority is to keep me safe. And then he just kept her safe for like many more years. And recently she's single and she has a threat on her, and it just pushes them together, and I loved it. It was actually so good. This one is considerably less angsty and less full of tension. I mean, obviously there's some amazing tension because she's like on the red carpet and he's like behind her, and she's like, will you come on the carpet with me together? And he's like, no, I'm just your bodyguard. And she's just like, like everything. It was so good, okay? But the theme in this one starts really soon. It starts at like 30%, so there's less of a slow burn, less tension. I did really want it to be more of a slow burn, but it was still an amazing book and a fantastic romance, and those bodyguard elements gave, and I loved it. Lastly, I'm recommending Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Cole. I read a Carrie Cole book, guys. What? I haven't even included this in a wrap up. This one is so recent, but like I quite enjoyed it. So this follows not me, like I read this book today and I forgot these characters' names. It's Lucky and Skylar. Oh god damn it. Okay, so Skylar, she lives a hard life. Let's say that. Her mother is a hoarder and has many mental challenges, and they kind of like get put onto Skylar. So when they're kind of like thrown into each other's lives, and then she gets diagnosed with all these things and she needs money for the health insurance and like everything, it just feels pulled to her for some reason. And even though there's like a 16-year age gap, she's 18 and he's like 30 something, he convinces himself that like, he's like, I'll do this as a friend thing. Like, she's a really sweet girl and I don't want her being in a hard position. She's really young and she's struggling with so much. Like, I'm gonna help her out. And so he is like, what if we had a fake marriage and you get my health insurance? And she literally has no other option. So she says yes, and they're in a fake marriage. You just know that tension is impeccable. Because when you have an agreement with the other person, it's like, oh, it's just a marriage of convenience. We're not going to do anything. We don't kiss the bride. And you do? Like, oh, it was so good. And because, you know, like they both have their doubts. Like, oh, he's not really into me. He just proposed like a marriage of convenience. Like, he doesn't really want me. Okay, slight miscommunication trope, and I made it out to be more than it was, but to me that's forbidden because it's marriage of convenience. They're like told each other they're not going to have a romantic relationship, but they do. Also combine that with the age gap, this one was forbidden to me, and it's less on the forbidden scale, especially because we just came off of like best friend's dad over here. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. It was a great read, if a little bit boring to me. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but the forbidden part was awesome. The age gap was awesome. I was just coming off the high of so many good books, and this one carried the high but didn't beat the other ones. So anyway, that is all the recommendations I have for you guys today. I was so happy to film this video, and I feel like my hair looks great. I got my necklaces on. The fit is pretty good, if I do say so myself. I mean, you guys don't see my pajama pants on the bottom, so it's good from the top up. And yeah, I just really had so much fun filming this video. Not me getting like actually sentimental though, and getting really, what was the word? I was getting weirdly sentimental and like super philosophical in this video. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, those are actually like 10 romances? What's going on? Anyway, I hope y'all really enjoy these recommendations because I really love these. They're all above 4 stars and most of them are 4.5 or 4.25. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a great reading month, and please share any other forbidden romances you have down in the comments. I'm always on the lookout for new ones, but especially right now. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video very soon.